It's August 2018 and the Labour Party has just come off winning a larger share of the votes and many seats in the 2017 UK elections. They said it couldn't be done, but under left-wing leader Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour Party has gained the most support the party has had since 2001, when it gained an overall majority and just over 40%. But despite these successes, there are many people in the Labour Party still that wanted to get Jeremy Corbyn out of leadership and to take over the party for the Blairites once again. Chief among them, Blairite Margaret Hodge, who always had her knives out for Jeremy Corbyn ever since he was elected in 2015. But this August 2018, Hodge went above and beyond with one of the most silly comments ever being uttered on British television, trying to snipe at Jeremy Corbyn for being an anti-Semite.
On the day that I heard that they were going to discipline me and possibly suspend me, it felt almost like I kept thinking, what did it feel like to be a Jew in Germany in the 30s? Because it felt almost as if they were coming for me. And it's rather difficult to define, but there's that fear. And it reminded me of what my dad used to say. He always said to me as a child, you've got to keep a packed suitcase at the door, Margaret, in case you ever have to leave in a hurry. And when I heard about the disciplinary, my emotional response resonated with that feeling of fear that clearly was at the heart of what my father felt when he came to Britain.
So those rather over-the-top comments were made in connection to the fact that Margaret Hodge was going to go through a disciplinary process in the Labour Party for calling out the leader as an anti-Semite and a racist in public, smearing his supporters and the direction the Labour Party decided to take on certain issues, for instance Israel. And many in the media lapped this victim status she was claiming for herself up. But our heroes on Twitter were not going to let that slide. They weren't just gonna let Margaret Hodge mouth off incoherently about her oppression, while a lot of people really struggle in the country. They were going to show the world what frivolous and silly comments the Margaret Hodge really made. And thus the Hodge comparison hashtag was born, and it was glorious.
Are you entirely happy, though, Anne, with the way in which the hashtag, the Hodge comparisons hashtag, has gone today? I mean just the quickest of glances through it. My teenage son and I were allocated one seat away from each other on a Ryanair flight. He couldn't reach his Pringles. From that moment on, he knew exactly how his African ancestors felt when they were forcibly separated in the transatlantic slave trade. At school, when I was 13, I was shown a diagram of a male reproductive appendage in my biology class. I realise now that the trauma I experienced was akin to that suffered by children in Islington care homes in the 1980s.
I chipped my tooth on an ice cube. Now I know how the Titanic must have felt. I booked a cruise, and when I got on board, my cabin was a bit smaller than I was expecting from the online brochure. So now I know exactly how chained African slaves felt when they were packed in like sardines on a slave ship. I once stubbed my toe. Now I know what it's like to be Stephen Hawking. I missed breakfast this morning, and now I know how Gandhi felt in his hunger strike. I mean, these are only the best ones. So, turned out that the left could meme after all. But of course, no Twitter roast fest is complete without the butt-hurt of several online people and prominent commentators. Let's look at some of their whining. don't worry, don't be sad. This gem will cheer you up. As funny as that was, Twitter wasn't the only arena where the Hodge comparison was discussed. There were multiple stories in the news media and several articles were written. You could say that the Hodge comparison was a great response to Margaret Hodge exposing her criticism, but it was also a shit show where people were just posting and triggering the liberal establishment left and right. I personally enjoyed hearing about it, but the entire controversy could probably be summed up as
frivolous and silly response to what people perceive to be frivolous and silly comments.